The member for Warringah.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister. A number of climate-denying national members of your government have been holding climate policy to ransom, so other members can reflect their community's call to rapidly act on climate change. Will you allow an open debate and conscience vote on the climate change bill before Parliament, or are the Nationals' votes the most powerful within the coalition?
Just before I call the Prime Minister, the first part of the question had some descriptions in it that really don't belong in a question, I need to say, assertions like that. And I think all members, including the member for Warringah, wouldn't like if there was a question that made an assertion about them. So I'm just going to point that out, that is not really what question time's for. There are other forms of the House where people can engage in political combat of that nature. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The world's response to climate change, and that will be the subject of the summit that is being held in Glasgow in a few weeks' time, will be seeking to bring people together on this issue. And, Mr Speaker, the response that is being made around the world to climate change will have a significant impact on Australia. It will have a significant impact, particularly on rural and regional Australia, and it would be, I think, unfair for this place to send anything other than a message to those Australians that we understand that we understand that people in rural and regional Australia will face some real challenges to their economic futures because of what is happening around the world and the changes in the global economy. Now, the Liberals and the Nationals understand that. And we think it's important that we don't engage, I think, Mr Speaker, with those who have a different view to us or even different views in a discussion in any sort of pejorative way. I don't think that's very helpful, Mr Speaker, in what we're trying to achieve here, because I think Australians, Mr Speaker, want to embrace the changes that are occurring, but I also think they want to ensure that all Australians can go ahead together, Mr Speaker, in rural and regional areas, and that we have a clear and considered plan for how that is going to be achieved, so we can both mitigate the negative impacts of what is going to occur and realise the opportunities that can be there for all Australians, but particularly in rural and regional areas. Now, Mr Speaker, that is what the government is working through, and the government will make a decision about the position that will be taken to COP26, Mr Speaker. The date hasn't changed. It's been the same date all year, Mr Speaker. We've been working towards that date over the course of the year, so when I attend that summit, I will take the government's position. And the government's position, Mr Speaker, will be determined, like all government positions are, and that is by the federal cabinet. Because, Mr Speaker, that was the approach taken in the past when it came to these matters, and on the commitments that Australia has made in the past on these issues. On Kyoto 1, we meet and we beat. On Kyoto 2, we met and we beat it, Mr Speaker. And on Paris, we will meet and beat the commitments that we have made. Now, Mr Speaker, there is no mystery at all on this side of the House as to what our 2030 target is. It's what we took to the last election. It was endorsed by the Australian people, Mr Speaker, and we have been implementing those policies, and we have seen a 20% and more reduction in carbon emissions since 2005. We have one of the highest rates, if not the highest rates, of rooftop solar in the world. We are seeing record levels of investment in renewable technologies here in Australia, and we propose there to be more. Now, Mr Speaker, those opposite have not set out their 2030 target. They have repealed, they say, the target they took to the last election.
Concluded.